without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to the first of our speakers, Raphael Yarish, and we're going to pass it on to Alex Ford after him. So if Raphael, if you wouldn't mind, please take it away, sir. Introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, James. Yeah, super quick intro. My name's Raf. I'm the co-founder of AdManage. Big yeah, AI enthusiast and anything that you can build or do to either make more winning ads or reduce time or optimize your workflows. I'm always looking into these things. I'm always spending, weekends doing this. So yeah, that's super quickly about me. And yeah, I've got a lot of super exciting stuff in this presentation that hopefully like you'll learn a lot of stuff and can hopefully make your next winning ad with that. So yeah, I'll pass it on to Alex to do a quick intro of himself.
Hey, I'm Alex, former fintech founder, now doing consultancy, and I'm going to be talking about AI SEO, as James said it, and the 400 other names that people are currently calling it, and hopefully share some quick wins to help get your brand mentioned in the LLMs. Back to you, Raf.
Okay, cool. I guess yeah, I can start this off. Let me just share my screen. Cool. I'm gonna be going through like a lot of things pretty quickly. So yeah, make sure, yeah, take notes if you want. But cool. I'll basically go over three aspects of like AI in advertising, writing, images, and videos. So I'll start off by actually asking in the chat if someone can write me what their top visual like hook is from one of their ads right now. If you can just describe like what that visual is, I will have that video by the end of this session done and we can all view it together. So I'll wait for someone to type that in. Could be a simple whatever your visual winning hook is at the moment in an ad right now. A, a person holding 3 bottles of squash.
Can they make one up if they don't have one?
Yeah,
Just
you
for
can
the
make one
love,
up.
yeah.
Yeah. Person relaxing in a beautiful bath. Is there anything more like maybe out there or something? Like you can make one up too. I'll just pick like from one of these in a minute or two. Frustrated travel manager with a canceled flight. Formula E car driving in Monaco. Um, okay, cool. Let's go with or okay, there's quite a few. All right, give me 30 seconds here. Let me just a person flying a bike, a protein brand with a space theme, a line, a criminal wads of cash being caught. Ooh, I like this one. Money is always a very good like visual hook. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. A criminal with wads of cash being caught by like police. So let me just
But clearly not a real product. Clearly a fake one.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyways, so I will put that in because these can take like a couple minutes to generate. But all right, so great, cool. Thank you so much for all of that. But yeah, basically I'll start off with the writing aspect. So copywriting is so essential to any ads that you do, and you should spend a lot of time doing this. And the best kind of tool I found to do this is actually using Claude. Although I will say a caveat, GPT like 4.5 just came out last night. So I haven't yet tested it because it's coming out for like the normal subscription in a week. But anyways, apparently this is also quite good at creative writing. So the slides might be outdated in a week. But anyway, so far I found that Claude has actually been the best writer for me, and specifically the projects tab. And what that actually does is basically you can put in like knowledge of different documents. So imagine like the older days of LLM prompting, you would have like quite a big prompt of what you want out of it, examples of what best looks like, and asking, any clarifying questions and trying to make it more unique and conversational. These are very good like keywords you can put into your prompt. But with projects, you can essentially just put any documents you want. So that's like your brand, tone of voice, like put scripts of like top performing ones historically for you. That's also really good. And then best practice. To be honest, I just go on like LinkedIn and get a bunch of like those documents that people share, and I'll like take the best bits out of that and put into my own document. So you can basically combine this all into your own like project knowledge, and then essentially like prompt it to say like create variations of an existing script or new ones. You can even take like comments from Facebook ads and put this in here so you can use real customer language or Trustpilot. Basically, the better your data quality you can input into this, the better your data out is going to be. So, this so far has been the most natural writer that I could found. It won't like the two falling points though are like the initial idea generation is not always as good. And the final edits is not always as good. But basically going from 0 to 10% is can be hard with this, but going from 10 to 90% is very easy. So it's like those last two bits where I'd still have like human input, but the bulk of it you can really like automate a lot of it. And another thing I just wanted to share that was quite popular in the last session, um, which is there's this free app called Mac Whisper, which I can show you. But basically, if you go to, so this is just, for example, like the Purdy and Fig ad library. With this Chrome extension I have with AdScan, I can basically download any of these videos. And there we go. I'm downloading that. And let me just change the screen I'm sharing to this one. So yeah, what this then does is basically it's like a local transcriber on my computer. So this isn't an online tool. This is just on my laptop, and I basically just drop the video in here, and it's going to transcribe the. Okay, this one didn't actually have a script on it. Let me find one that actually does. Um, or I'll just download a different one. Let's see, does this one have it? Anyways, but yeah, the point is basically you could drop MP4s or MP3s, and it will transcribe the entire video for you, which is really useful if you want to see different copywriting styles, things like that. So that is, it's classic with these things. It's like always in the demos, like something breaks. So, cool. All right, I just ha found a new video. This is going to transcribe, and I just want to show you like how quick this is to basically do. There you go, and it's done. So real time. And so yeah, this is really useful just to get different copy and really useful to kind of build like your own swipe library of different good transcripts and things like that. So cool. That's all I'm gonna cover for the what's it called? The writing side of it. There's a lot to it. And I could go into like a lot more detail, but just conscious of time, I'm going to show you some things that are even more interesting that are more recent in the space because Claude is an old one. So one,
Quick question, Raf, because let's cover this off as we go. Question from Cedric: is this voice only, or can you do copy as well?
for so this is just copy. I'll show you voiceovers later on, but yeah, this for Claude, this is just the copywriting.
And the tool is called Ad Whisper.
Mac Whisper.
Mac Whisper. So just to be clear to everybody, in the follow-up meeting notes, we'll have links to all of this, all the tools, all the notes, slides, all that type of stuff. So thank you for whoever posted that, but this will come afterwards. So there's links you can click on, all that type of stuff. But like, yeah, Mac Whisper. Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. Cool. And then in terms of image AI gen, I've actually seen some winning ads with just like AI statics, which is really good. So it's kind of like past that frontier, essentially that barrier. And the two models I would recommend currently are Flux and Imagen 3 because they can create some of the most realistic images. So I'll show you an example of Flux or on Leonardo. Leonardo is basically like a website that will host a few different models. But they just came out with this new UI, which is fantastic, which basically is kind of like if you're scrolling on Instagram or whatever, you can basically put your prompt and just keep scrolling to find new images. So I don't know. Yeah, okay. You just keep scrolling. And this is a good way to be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is like which one is most my style that I like. So it's kind of a different UI flow, but if you want more kind of control over it, you can select different models here. So yeah, Flux is the top one I would recommend. And I'll show you Imagen 3 in a bit, but yeah, basically you can write your prompt in here. And like it's really good with writing. So you can have like sticky notes, for example. That's a classic winner. And it actually gets like the writing on here without spelling mistakes. You need to probably go through like a few different ones, but anyways, this is like fantastic for stuff that actually looks pretty realistic and writing on the actual image itself, which was always a problem before. Um, and yeah, so that's pretty much it from the image AI ones. For AI voiceovers, as you were saying, James. So the two ones I've played around a lot with is like 11 Labs and Speechify. So 11 Labs is a more popular one. So I'll show Speechify because a lot of people might not know it, but yeah, essentially you can this is just their scratch pad. They just launched this like a week ago, actually. But you can basically put your copy in here, and you can change what kind of tone you want, the speed, which is really like the best thing about this, because you can make it go a lot faster if you need the voiceover to fit to a certain video length, which is very common in video editing and ads. So this is such a killer feature. You can change the speed. So this is actually my clone voice. So let's listen to it at 10% speed. It's just generating. Okay, if you're like us and you have marble worktops in your home, you need to get to know pretty much anything. Their scents are incredible and our worktops. So yeah, sounds like that. You can regenerate. Anyways, yeah, it's pretty cool tool. Like highly recommend. 11 Labs also great. They're yeah, the two really good ones I'd say for AI voiceovers, and super powerful because like currently AI voiceovers and B-roll only type of ads actually work really well for performance right now. So these are an essential toolkit or essential tool in your toolkit basically. Cool. The last part, which I think is probably the most interesting and the most changing thing because actually VO2, Google's VO2 model just got released, I believe either Monday or Sunday, like within the last week, essentially, publicly. And I've had early access for a while, but I'll show you what this kind of looks like. So I'll start with Kling, and then I'll go to video, or VO2, sorry. So Kling is a public one that is pretty good. So what you can do is essentially there's three ways you can do this. One is text to video, which is basically you write a prompt and then a video generates. Pretty good, but you don't have much control over it, and it doesn't always look very realistic. So if you actually want to make it for ads, what you should do is actually start with like the first frame. So either you take a real photo or you have an AI image photo, which you make it look real with, which I can show you with either Flux or Imagen 3. And you basically go on and you can like create these types of videos, which is really useful for like B-roll. And even this, I can show you. You can even like lib dub it as well. So put your own script on it with like the different scene. So useful and really like good. But then sometimes I'll show you like, some bad examples where actually it doesn't like you see the book kind of morphs. It looks okay. Like it's a bit weird. It's a bit janky. But yeah, and another really like pro tip for anyone testing a lot of like AI videos is always put like show to camera whatever you're doing because that will make the action to actually like go towards the camera, and this is like a classic advertising thing. So I will now show you what VO2 actually looks like, which is super exciting. So let's see. So this is actually this prompt that I just took from the beginning when I asked. So let's see what VO2 actually came up with. So it's actually like quite a dark lighting, criminal, wads of money, like actually looks quite good. This one falling to the ground doesn't have a hand, or yeah, it looks. So anyways, it doesn't there's some parts that are quite unrealistic, but a lot of it in especially in advertising, if you're cutting these things like quite quickly and just selecting the right scenes, it can work really well. And what I want to show you of like how this is actually an insane superpower right now is so this brand Surreal, I just wanted like a product to see if I can like remake something with their like product in a video. So I just took a screenshot of this website here, just this segment, and I then used it as the first frame in VO2. And my prompt is just 25-year-old man pours a bowl of cereal inside a modern kitchen in a London flat. And this is what it comes up with. So you can see it's like still the same product, pouring it. And this is like crazy. So there's so much you can do with this. And this is another version, another iteration of it. So some things aren't perfect in this, but it is so like it's far beyond like a lot of things out there right now. And in my opinion, it's like usable enough where you can cut this into your core videos. And the other part I wanted to show was the image generation in Google Imagen 3. So this is like my prompt is a close-up of a woman's smug face in a modern library with students paying attention to the professor from a selfie perspective. And you can see it actually looks like super realistic. And this is honestly the best way to create AI videos is to first create the image because it can take like a few seconds versus a video can take a few minutes to generate. So it's like make sure you generate the image that you actually want as the first frame, and then you can essentially use that. So this one is just this picture, and then I go ahead and use this here, and the thing is just like looks left and right, even cuts to a different scene. It looks so real. It's wild. And then this one just cuts to like a totally different one. So, it doesn't always work. Here's like some different examples of things. This one just totally cuts to a different person. So yeah, it's still not perfect, but with enough like trial and error, you can really get like a good one. And then also you with advertising, you always want to be like grab attention, the right attention. And with AI, you can really generate these wild types of scenarios. So here's like just a woman walking on a bridge made out of books, walks towards camera. And this is now what this image looks like essentially animated. And here's another view of it as well. And then yeah, it kind of like breaks here. But anyways, this like looks super good. And it's definitely like good enough to try and ads. And this is just me trying to generate different ones, like walking up the steps here. Um, so I think you really need like a good first frame to make these videos work. If you want to see like what it would look like for like this is just text to video now, so no image as the first prompt. This is the same prompt, woman walking on a bridge walks towards camera. So it doesn't really get the bridge part, but it has like the books as the background. And same thing for this one with like actually quite the lighting, like yeah, there's just so much that actually works here. Um with this. And yeah, and then this is actually me. I just took this 20 minutes ago before this call to see if I could like just animate myself. And this I just took the first frame. I don't know why it's like cropped like this, but yeah, this is basically just this image now turned into a video. So, and this is where it really excels actually, is when you can take real photos from different shoots that you do. So I'll actually show you kind of what that looks like as well. So I'll just show you some examples of other things I've generated. So these are a few more ones that I've tried. It's like changes the scene here. This one is like such good like facial expressions. This one as well. So it's kind of like, you start a lot of ads with like your problem statement. So it's like the face looks sad, all of this. And then this is like holding like a book and then like smiling. And then this is like some real footage. And then you basically just take the screenshot and then animate it more. And this is another one as well. So yeah, like this is honestly crazy. Like for all of these, it's just starting with this frame as reference, just to clarify. But yeah. And then the last part that I wanted to share is, of cool, you're making all these images, all these videos and everything, and you actually want to like launch them both into like TikTok, Facebook, all of that. And this is actually the tool that I'm working on currently. So a little self-plug, but yeah, essentially, me and my brother built this tool that will essentially launch all your ads in one click. So I already uploaded a few of these like AI image ads. I just go in and select all of these, and I selected my ad set I want to launch into, and I click launch, and that's basically it. So you can basically create lots more ads, try to find lots more winners, and launch them super quickly. Kind of eliminate this whole like ad ops process. And yeah, the future is just wild. There's so much to do, so many different things. If you have any other questions or anything, yeah, feel free to type them in the chat. I can try to answer. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of what I was going to cover.
Raf, thank you. You also set a record of the terms wild and crazy has been mentioned in a 30-minute webinar, but I think that was appropriate. I think you have some collective blown minds trying to process so much of the stuff that you've done there. And as we said, we will follow up with links to all of these sites because there's so many that Raf is showing you. Simple links you can click on, simple links that you can go back, play around with, and maybe next month, some of you can share how you're getting on with some of that. So we appreciate that's tons to digest, and especially your mind is getting blown by the results at the same time. But Raf did an amazing job of sort of jumping around there and making AI videos of himself doing double thumbs up whilst being sideways at the same time. So definitely an interesting time. I'll shout out some of the questions in the chat. We'll try to get through a few of them. We still have to hear from Alex, so we've not got tons of time, but I'll try and blast through some of them. So another one from Cedric. What's the financial model behind these tools? Free, freemium, subscription? I think that's probably quite a detailed
That's a great question.
They have all of them, right?
I can answer them. Yeah, so VO2 is very expensive right now. It's about 50 cents a second. You can access it through fowl.ai publicly right now. So that's the one that just got launched. Kling.ai is about, I think, anywhere from like 2 to 5 cents a second. So it's about 10 times cheaper. But it's not as good. It's maybe like 70, 80% as good as VO2. But if you're spending like, a couple hundreds or thousands on a shoot, I think VO2 is actually very worth it right now. And then Claude, I think it's just like 20 bucks a month. Speechify as well, I think is a monthly subscription. Same with 11 Labs. And Imagen 3 and Leonardo, same thing. They're all like kind of these monthly subscriptions based on credits, is how they mostly operate. Relatively, like if you're spending a lot on ads, these are very inexpensive. So, yeah, highly recommend trying it. Try to find new winners, because yeah, that's the name of the game.
Well, we're just going to move this. Alex, would you mind just not sharing your screen for a sec, just so while we do the Q&A, just for clipping purposes, and those that know. Very, very quickly, we'll go through this. Alessandro, can you combine the two tools, generate video with Kling and upload audio using Speechify? Finally, lip sync the two. Can you combine them? Raf, quick question.
Yeah. So I mean, that's exactly what I had done. So I had generated it in Speechify. Let me share my screen again. Which one is it?
Really quickly,
Yes.
Raf. You
Yeah,
actually got
yeah.
Alex to get to.
Yeah, so in Kling, for example, I had generated this one. So this is the audio I uploaded.
I am very dyslexic until I
Right. And then so this is a separate one that was made in Speechify. I upload this. You can also do text to speech, but theirs is not nearly as good. And yeah, you basically use this MP3 file, and then it goes over. And this is like the original video of what it looks like. So it's kind of just like talking. She starts talking about how hard it is to read the book. So there's no actual audio when you do this. So you can combine this both in Kling, which is really good. There's a bunch of other lip syncing tools out there, that I won't go into. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of briefly that. Oh, am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay, let me just put that.
Incredible. We want to get to Alex, so we're going to move over
Yep.
to Alex next. And again, we will share the details of all the speakers. You can contact them potentially on LinkedIn if you want to do it, and all that type of stuff. We will get to all the answers as much as we can. We want to get to Alex. Are you okay to not stop
Can
sharing?
you? Yeah, I can't. I don't know actually where the stop share button is. But Alex, you can just take over because there's only one at a time. So
Here we go. Is that working?
Okay. Over to you, Alex.
Hey, yeah, amazing, Raph. Like, that's amazing. Like, my mind's been blown. So much to crack on. So I'm going to carry on at the rate of Raph as well, and whiz through some of these slides. So I'm going to talk about with the increase of AI overviews showing up in organic search results, what can we do to maybe influence those to get our brands mentioned? So I'm going to run through it. Ooh, if I can get it to work. There you go. So first off, what is generative engine optimization? So it's basically optimizing your content, website, and brand to be better found by AI searches. So loads of people now are just going straight into ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, whatever, and putting their search queries in there. And so it's important for us as marketeers and people to understand how can we influence that. First thing though, what should we call it? There's loads and loads of buzzwords floating around. Here's a few that I've heard. Geo, GSVO, AIO, AI optimization, LLMO, call it what you like, but they're all talking about the same thing ultimately. And so I just wanted to share a couple of client wins that I've had working with a few, and shout out to Kat, who's also in the community. Flawless AI are actually an AI video dubbing tool for the Hollywood industry, one of the leading kind of providers for that. And they've been picked up in the LLM recently when you Google, sorry, when you query who is the best video dubbing tool. And similarly, Care Fertility. So again, Amy's in the community as well, in quite a competitive niche, but really interested. She's, for anyone who knows about SEO, and their brand is impacted by YAML. So there's particular industries, particularly finance and medical, that have higher bars to cross both in organic SEO and in LLMs, but they've both managed to get their kind of websites mentioned and indexed by the major LLMs and then show up on organic. So just by way of poll, anyone in the room who's using Google Analytics, how many people, and I'll come back to this, how many people are seeing Perplexity, ChatGPT, or any of that show up as a reference source in their Google Analytics? If you just chuck that in the chat, it'd be really interesting to see who's getting referral traffic, because it is a bit of a zero-sum game at the moment. So the disruptions in marketing. So the major one that probably quite a few of us are seeing is that organic traffic from Google is declining. And why is that? And I've literally just changed this slide because James gave me some grief, but Google is changing, or has changed, should we say. And so no longer are we seeing the blue links. It went away with the paid ads that were kind of going up there, but now AI overviews are popping up more and more and more and more frequently. And that's pushing down all of the organic search results. And what we're finding is people are getting the answers to their queries from these AI overviews. And so they're not continuing on their normal current journeys, click through a few sites, make their mind up. And that means it's a challenge. If you're not being indexed by these LLMs, you're seeing a drop off in your traffic. And according to Gartner, by 2028, they reckon that organic traffic will decrease by 50% or more as more and more people switch to using the AI overviews, or even just move away from Google entirely and just go straight into ChatGPT or other providers are available. And so I don't know if anyone follows Rand Fishkin, but he did some research tail end of last year and saw that on average for EU search click-through rates, zero-click searches, which it's being coined as, it's as high as about 60% in both the US and Europe. So most of the searches are getting the answer from the AI overview, and they're not continuing their journey as you would typically do when you're trying to research a new cereal or product that you want to do. You click through a lot of links. So this is the trend that we're seeing, but at the moment, nobody really knows how often that AI overview is triggered. There's no, well, apart from one, there's no really credible tools to help you monitor that. Obviously, you've got Google Search Console, Google Analytics, SEMrush, and a few other tools that allow you to start to see, but there's no data as marketeers that we can tap into to monitor things like backlinks in the LLM, or what have they trained their data on. And so we're in this period. If anyone's been in SEO for long enough, they'll know, in the 90s, there's all kinds of tricks and stuff like that for SEO, but nobody really understands at this point where the LLMs are getting their data from and what they're using to pick one brand over the other. What we can see, though, is from SEMrush and others that the AI overviews are showing up in some industries more than others. So in this example, healthcare, which is Care Fertility and one of my clients, they're showing up much more frequently than in some other industries like real estate, food and drink, for example. And people believe that that is because in some industries, there's much more queries that are not focused on a pure conversion, but they're more informational. So the trend that we're seeing is that any kind of query that is what you would typically class as a top of funnel or a mid of funnel term, the AI overview is more frequently being triggered. So if you're in any of those industries, it's worth checking out, particularly if you're in kind of the health space. So yeah, as a the second disruption is people moving away from Google altogether and going straight into the Claude app. So I haven't looked in the chat, but from talking to quite a few clients and running this webinar a couple of times, it does appear to be a bit of a zero-sum game. So if your website has been picked up by the LLMs and is being shown in the AI overview, that is a great place to be, because you get referral traffic and you're seeing that coming through. If it's not, it's not a great place to be, obviously, because those zero-click searches are increasing. So what can we do to try and influence that? And at this stage, like I said, nobody has the exact answer, but there are some data points that we can reference to do some things that we think will help us. So I'm just going to go into the chat and see like how many people. Where we go? Here we go. Yeah, so quite a few people are seeing it. Amazing. Okay, well, that's good. That's really, really good. And we expect that trend to increase as more consumers go to seeing search results. So I did this webinar tail end of last year, and in Q4 in September, there was a big report, and it saw that 41% of all AI search accounted for all traffic. And we expect that to increase, right? We expect more and more people to just rely on the AI overview. Whether that's the right thing to do is a different question. But as we know, consumers just want the answer instantly. And this is quite an interesting topic. So what do we know about the LLMs and where they're getting their sources from? So if you read the engineering blogs, if you're on Hugging Face or any of those types of communities, they do publish where they get their original training sets from. So 60% is basically from a common crawl, crawling the whole of the internet. And they continue to do that, and they will continue to do that. The other one is web to text, which I'll come back to at the moment. So that's taking up 22%. Books 1, Books 2, which is just huge repositories of books that they've got from somewhere, and then Wikipedia. So if you've got a Wikipedia page, that's brilliant. If your brand's got a Wikipedia page, if your CEO or somebody senior there, that's really interesting. But what's quite important here, and we'll come back to this, is the boosted section. So you can see there that Web Text 2 and Wikipedia has been given a 5 times multiple in the training models. So they've put an artificial weighting on those data sources in the LLM. So Wikipedia, I think most people could understand that. It's one of the biggest sites in the world. It's been around, it's kind of community moderated. It's known for being like a credible source. But what is Web Text 2? And why have they applied a 5x weight rating to it? So Web Text 2 is basically sites where there are community interactions. So think Reddit with upvotes, Quora type questions, any types of communities where there is an interaction where you can give something a thumbs up, ask a question, get an answer from the community. They are the types of sites that the models have put extra weighting on, because the theory is that if it is a community sourced forum or conversation and people are surfacing the best comments, the best insights to the top, that must be a more reliable source than a blog post that you've written for your agenda. So they're trying to tap into the hive mind of people on platforms like Reddit and Quora. So how can you prepare yourself for that? So zero clicks are increasing. We're seeing that like growing at an aggressive rate. It's really hard to track AI-powered search interfaces at the moment. Like I say, if you're seeing referral traffic, that's great, and you should definitely be monitoring that closely, especially if organic SEO is like a big part of your user acquisition. But what can you do to optimize your content for something that is unknown? And that's what I hope to kind of cover a little bit off later on. So before AI, we've had people also ask questions, we've had featured snippets. What I've found is clients who've had a lot of people also ask or featured snippets, they are being picked up better in the LLMs because of that structured data markup already being kind of indexed. So that's a good signal. But when you look at the queries, most of the queries are not in that high conversion, bottom of funnel state. They're in that kind of top and middle of funnel. And they expect, with the exception of like Perplexity Shopping, launching Perplexity Commerce, they expect that the majority of the AI overviews will creep more and more into the top of funnel space, the featured snippet space, and the people also asked space, because that will slowly get transitioned into the AI overviews. So if you wanted to focus on your content, I'd be very much focusing on your middle of funnel and top of funnel keywords. And then looking at kind of the increase. So this is going back to, back in the early days of marketing, it was kind of just commercial intent and information intent, and that's been broken down. And what we're seeing in 2016, when featured snippets came out, then people also asked, and now we're seeing overviews. I think this is a bit conservative, this chart personally, but I think we're seeing more and more of the AI overviews being served. So at a starting place, if you don't have an aggressive organic strategy, it would definitely be worth looking at your kind of structured data markup, writing short paragraphs which are designed to be picked up in the kind of featured snippets and the people also asked, in the hope that that will feed into the AI overview. But that would probably be the best place to start. So just to kind of recap, if anyone's not internally familiar with this, like these are the AI overviews. And you can see in this one for credit card processor, obviously American Express has come to the top. But why have they put American Express over Discover, Visa, MasterCard? If you worked at Visa, you'd probably say, hey, we want to be up there. What can we do about that? So on the right-hand side, it shows you all of the links where they kind of get this from. And you can also click the link there to see where it comes from. From doing an audit of these, it's really interesting to see that a lot of these sites aren't the typical suspects or like the high domain authority websites. And there's an interesting element at play here that a lot of the big media groups are actually taking legal action against the LLM models. So like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and they're actually now preventing the web crawlers crawling their website. And so what this has led to is a rise of smaller sites being influential in the AI overview because of taking technical steps to stop crawlers, but also legal action against OpenAI and others. It means that where you might value a Forbes backlink or a Wall Street Journal backlink, whilst that's still great if a human looks at that because they place value on the Wall Street Journal, the AI model doesn't take that into account and will be indexing kind of lower quality, if you will, smaller sites. So that's a really interesting thing. If you've got some key terms that are critical for your business, and you chuck them in, even in a basic way, into Google, look at where it's referencing the backlinks from. So this one, for example, was Hollister. And what we're seeing is listicles really popping up a lot. I know a lot of marketers aren't big fans of listicles, but the web crawler seems to really like listicle articles because it's, you know, structured data, bullet points, short paragraphs, giving them the answers to what they want. So we're seeing listicles turn up. Now, an interesting point on this example of Hollister, for example, and there's currently a court case going through the High Court in the US, is that as marketeers, previously we relied on getting organic rankings for key terms, but also getting backlinks from authoritative sites. And the authoritative sites gave us a proxy to authority. You know, if you've got a link in the Wall Street Journal, that's great because it's the Wall Street Journal versus Dave's blog or whatever that might be. But the case that's going through at the moment is an interesting one because for the first time, LLMs are actually putting a sentiment on the AI overview. And so not only are they looking at the information, but they're picking up a sentiment of that information. And the case that is going through at the moment is about a competitor who did it's not HubSpot versus Salesforce, but I'll use that as an example. HubSpot say, what's the best CRM? There was a competitor's page that got indexed that obviously is saying, you know, HubSpot is better than Salesforce, for example. And that was picked up in the AI overview, and it was giving references saying, oh, HubSpot is definitely the best one. So it's the first time as marketeers that now not only do backlinks matter and which backlinks are, but what are they saying in that article? And that's a really kind of new and emerging space, and it's not one that many people have answers for, but the AI overview has the ability to give an answer which is influenced by all of the data that it's got. So if there's a bad sentiment out there or we get some bad PR, that can influence the AI overview. So search prompt research. So start by understanding the user intent. If you have a list of keywords that you're currently plugging into SEMrush, I would manually, there are tools, I'll share one in a minute, just start plugging those into Google and just start seeing where they're picking up that from. Check the backlinks on the right hand side, see what types of sites are referencing you. I think you'd be quite surprised at some of the sites that it's taking into reference. Interestingly, in a YAML space, so if you work in fintech, finance, or medical, you'll hopefully be familiar with the YAML algorithm for SEO. But those ones are really hard to get into because they put an extra weighting on. So the majority in the health space, for example, will only index from the NHS UK. And that's because they've artificially told the LLMs to put extra weighting to NHS UK. One of my clients had a specific challenge because they're in the UK, but a lot of the medical sites that they index was like WebMD, for example, which is a large US provider. So outside of YAML, I would just be putting in your key terms and seeing what's coming up for you. Tools. So yeah, this is where I can mention one of the tools. So there's a great tool called Otterly AI. If anyone wants to sign up for that, they can do. And I think there's a discount code on our Notion page to get some searches there. But basically the way that works is you put in your keywords and it will monitor those every week across all of the LLMs. So it will do it across Chat, Claude, Perplexity, and all of the others, and it will take screenshots for you. So it's starting to get the tooling in place, but it's still really early days for us as marketeers to have the tools to kind of get insights on what we should be doing. So yeah, this is Otterly AI. So you can put in your brand term, your domain, and up to 10 keywords there. I think that's all for free. Obviously, if you pay for it, then they'll let you do more keywords. And what they'll do is they'll show you where you're ranking for what terms, but also like follow-on search prompts, which is quite interesting. Now, again, I don't know if you use it yourself, but when you go into ChatGPT, you might ask it one question, but again, you'll try and ask it 2, 3, 4 questions until you get the answer. We currently don't have a very good way, other than Otterly, they're doing a good job, to kind of find out what those follow-on search prompts are. So if you don't want to use Otterly, or there's the limitation there's a great free tool by SEO Notebook. It's a custom GPT that they've made. You can just go into ChatGPT, load this custom ChatGPT, and you can put in some search queries that might be relevant for you, and it's going to show you some types of common questions that would like go into the top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. And where I would be focusing earlier would be that middle of funnel first, then that top of funnel space. And so it's going to show you all of those kind of related terms. Shout out to the Notion page indeed. So monitoring search terms. So if anyone's got a SEMrush account, good news, Otterly is now integrated into SEMrush. They've got some investment from those guys, so you can actually use the AI overview function in SEMrush, which is tied to basically Otterly's back end. But what this is going to do is it's going to show you, in this example for credit card providers and other brand terms, how many times you're showing up, but also give you a screenshot of that and sentiment analysis. So again, it's a very much emerging space, but it's the first time as marketeers where Google and others are presenting your brand in a certain kind of way based on the data they have. So if you're showing up with a negative sentiment, obviously you're going to want to prioritize looking into that and looking who's writing negatively about you, and is there anything you can do to change that. But yeah, I definitely keep an eye on the sentiment analysis. I'm going to skip through this, but the main point for this one is there's lots and lots of listicles. Listicles are really loved by the web crawlers. You can see their list of top 10 credit cards, list of credit card companies, list of credit card issuers, top 10 banks in America, top 12 B2B. Listicles seem to be a real favorite currently for the LLMs. They're not, again, marketers' favorite thing to do, but the web crawlers really seem to kind of pick those up and do it. And we think it's because it is a structured data markup. So you have structured lists, and then you have your structured schema around it. If you're using WordPress or something similar, it usually comes out of the box. But again, if you look at the sites, a lot of them aren't massive sites. So we know that MasterCard, Amex will have big links from New York Times, Wall Street Journal, BBC, News UK, all of those things. But when you look at the web pages and the URLs that are actually influencing them, they're quite small sites and like not the common suspects that you would kind of go to. And yeah, I'm just going to skip through this because it's giving you an overview, but basically it will show you Google AI overviews, ChatGPT insights and Perplexity insights, and it will show you how many times your brand's been mentioned in a string of searches. So earlier we talked about the LLM and we talked about the boosted section. So if you remember, Web Crawl 2 accounted for 22% of the training data, but it also had a 5x weighting. What we're seeing is sites like Reddit predominantly Reddit. Maybe it's the developers at DeepMind who just massive Reddit fans, but there's a heavy weighting for Reddit threads. So one of the tips or tricks that I would do is using Google. You put in your search keyword and then plus Reddit, or your brand term plus Reddit, and look through some of the Reddit posts to see how you're being mentioned. What's the sentiment on those mentions? And similarly there for Quora. I will say though that it seems heavily weighted towards Reddit. So, you know, if it's like, what's the best credit card plus Reddit, what's the best cereal plus Quora, that'll give you an overview of potentially where the LLMs are picking up their data from. And sentiment there is obviously quite a key one. So if you have any social media managers in the team or community managers, looking into Reddit as a channel is probably a smart move to help your kind of organic overview as well. Really rattling through this one. So yeah, the other thing to mention is off-page tactics. So I've mentioned Reddit there. I've also mentioned the types of listicles that you want to do, but here's just a few examples of where Reddit has been picked up on a personal finance blog. And interestingly, a lot of this stuff can come from a long time ago. So in this case here, that's a Reddit thread from 5 years ago that is being used to influence quite a big brand, right? ClearScore and Experian. And similarly, if you look at the backlink, it's Lonebird, which is a independent, small website that is being picked up to influence the AI overview. Interesting one here, anyone who's based in London, the Reddit community got behind, I don't know what you want to call it, some hacktivism, but there is a load of tourists asking ChatGPT what's the best restaurants to eat in London, and they were making Reddit posts and upvoting Angus Steakhouse. And so now if you Google it, Angus Steakhouse will come up as a great place to eat, and I'm sure it is, but as anyone who's been to an Angus Steakhouse knows, it's probably not the best chain of restaurants in London to go for it. But that is quite an interesting story of how like the Reddit community and the influence of Reddit can be used to manipulate a brand's appearance in the LLMs. Content optimization. So the areas that I would be focusing on is still the standard stuff. So EEAT, expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trust. Again, if you look at the weighting, they get a lot of that EEAT data from community sourced environments, and they put extra weighting on upvotes, questions and answers, anything like that. But I'd really be doubling down on your EEAT strategy. And then try and establish, if you can, your own point of view or bring in industry experts. So if you've got a CEO or somebody else within your organization that is super knowledgeable or well respected in an industry. In the IVF example, put some efforts into kind of Wikipedia pages, into Google Scholar pages, because there were some leading experts who had published papers on fertility treatment, and focusing on those areas. Again, Google Scholar is a really interesting one because we know that Google is indexing Google Scholar. So if you work in an industry where there's any academic research relevant to what you're doing, if your founder or your CEO or your CTO is attached to a university and has published papers, that's something that I'd want to be talking about more. I'd be wanting to promote more. I'd be wanting to get backlinks in the hope that the LLMs kind of take that as a really strong EEAT signal. Obviously, you'll all know if you can get a Wikipedia page, get one. It's easier said than done, but we know that they've got a 5x rating there. Look at Reddit, look at Quora as channels. Like I say, if you put your brand name in your key terms plus Reddit, that will give you an overview of like the sentiment there. And then with your PR agencies and your traditional and PR agencies. Of course, you still want to focus on the top end, the Forbes, the Wall Street Journals, the New York Times, but take into reference the smaller sites like Lonebird, where the LLMs are kind of referencing they've got that data from. Because I think you'd be surprised at some of the smaller sites that are being influential, particularly with the ongoing legal battles between the bigger media groups. And then listicles, FAQs, make sure your structured data markup is there. And if you're in the e-commerce space, again, structured data and product specifications are being picked up quite a lot. We haven't seen a lot of AI overviews stepping on the toes of the Google shopping feed yet, but I'm sure that will come.
Alex, I think we're literally about to hit time now. So, perfect slides. And I want to make sure you give you your props at the end. We will share these slides. We will do it. Alex, that was absolutely fantastic. You crammed so much content into that. A lot. People's heads are still spinning, but we are at time and we're on to the next one. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Raf. Thank you for Catherine for helping with the moderation. And thank you for everyone joining. And we will speak to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.